This secluded forest is a temporary refuge for Kenyan activist Bill Eugene Omolo after what he describes as a traumatic ordeal. Last month, he says, he was abducted by unknown men after taking part in anti-government protests.
I was told to sit down, forcefully. Once I sat down, it was a cold floor. They asked me to remove my pants, my tracksuit. So I removed my tracksuit. They even took my shoes off from me. They took my shirt off from me.
Human rights groups say dozens of Kenyans have been targeted in similar abductions in the past 2 weeks. They blame the extrajudicial arrests on Kenya's intelligence services. A police spokesperson did not respond to requests for comment on the abductions, nor did Nurdin Haji, the director of Kenya's intelligence services. In an interview on Sunday, President William Ruto denied police involvement in disappearances and broadly defended the actions of the security forces. However, Irungu Horton, executive director at Amnesty International Kenya, said what they've seen is a number of very disturbing patterns.
It also has now begun to develop this, this pattern that we had not seen probably at this scale since the 1980s, where people who are considered to be protesters or organizers or even just simply voices of dissent are being plucked from their homes or even as they go to church with their family.
The protests, initially sparked by $2.7 billion in tax hikes, have developed into a broad movement that poses the biggest threat to Ruto's 2-year-old presidency. Though Ruto withdrew the proposed tax increases, an allegedly heavy-handed reaction has raised fears of rights backsliding. For Omolo, he describes being taken just for demanding his rights as so unlawful.
It's against the Constitution, and I feel like the people that are doing this are supposed to be held accountable.
After 24 hours, Omolo's abductors, he says, loaded him back into their vehicle and left him near a police station. He's now left Nairobi, worried that he's being followed and could be abducted again. But he's also one of the lucky ones. Rights groups say a handful of abduction victims remain unaccounted for. Here's what's been making the business headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. Kenya's President William Ruto spoke by phone to IMF chief Kristalina Georgieva in the days after he withdrew $2.7 billion in proposed tax hikes in response to deadly protests, 2 diplomatic sources have said. The sources, speaking on a condition of anonymity, did not provide details, but said there was agreement among major donors that the IMF needed to show flexibility, as Kenya looked to fill the gap caused by the finance bill's withdrawal. The World Bank has suspended Gabon's right to make loan and grant withdrawals from July due to non-payment of outstanding obligations, a letter seen by Reuters showed on Wednesday. Gabon, where a junta seized power in August last year, had overdue payments totaling around $17 million as of June 30th, the letter said. A World Bank spokesperson said it was regrettable that an official letter had found its way into the media, and said they were confident authorities will take steps to regularize the situation as soon as possible. South Africa's Rainbow Chicken is focused on keeping costs low as it begins life as a standalone company, its CEO said on Monday. The leading poultry firm has been spun off by parent company RCL Foods and listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. The industry has been battling erratic electricity supplies in addition to South Africa's worst ever bird flu outbreak last year. Niger's junta has agreed to talks with Benin's government to help restore relations after a coup in Niger last year led to the border closing and a China-backed oil pipeline shutting down. Authorities in both countries said no date had been decided for the meeting. And finally, Nigeria aims to host an oil and gas roadshow to woo back international energy companies that quit its onshore sector, a senior government official said on Monday. International oil companies, including Shell and Exxon, have exited its onshore fields to focus on deep offshore exploration. Oil firms have long complained about insecurity in the Niger Delta, pipeline vandalism and crude theft, as well as recent oil legislation which overhauled fiscal terms in the sector.